Welcome to episode 29 of Webway Radio. I'm Kurt.
I'm Steve.
I'm Austin.
And today we are going to talk about building a list and checking it twice.
Yes.
Yes, the important part
The first part.
about playing any kind of war game.
Kind of need a list to play, right?
Yep.
Mostly.
Usually, you think.
But one of us played some games. Enough games to make up for the other two of us not playing games.
All in one day, too.
I think we all did some hobby stuff for a change, which is kind of nice.
I banged out a whole weekend of hobby progress.
I got a lot more done than I have in a very long time. So, but yeah, I think it was a good little chat about just list building and why you take things and, you know, all that fun stuff. Anything else you guys want to add before we jump in?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
All right, well, sit back and we'll be back in just a minute with hobby progress and games played.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's jump into hobby progress. Steven, what have you been working on?
So I've been working on my backlog, actually.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, so when I did my whole army repaint, repainting my Acadians from your traditional green and khaki to the red and khaki, I didn't paint everything because I have a lot of guard that I've collected over the years.
We know. Well,
So
aware.
I painted what I needed to paint to do like a typical army or typical like what I want to battle, and I was like, okay, I got two old Lehman Russes, which are the old type with the big ring and everything. They were just the standard battle tank. I have a Hellhound, a Hydra / Wyvern, because it's like the same kit. It's just one has the barrels and one doesn't. And then a couple of like the Flamer dudes or the grenade launcher guys, because those are cheap to get in like 6th edition, and that's what you typically use in 6th. That's when I bought them. And so I just never painted them. So now they are getting undercoated effectively. And then I also grabbed some scouts. I do have a dark...
Old scouts? New scouts?
Old scouts. So
I've got a unit I just could not get rid of.
Yeah, so I found them, eBay type of purchase.
Yeah.
I found them for very, very inexpensive, but they were unfortunately all with sniper rifles, which is not a valid...
Well, that's how the kit came initially, wasn't it? Or that's how they used to be loaded out, so...
Yeah, they used to all be like sniper rifles and...
Like
not
shotguns
like the missile
or something?
launcher. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
sniper
it was
rifle.
shotgun, sniper rifles.
Yeah, shotgun, sniper rifle, or a bolter.
Because now they released they had the Kill Team Scouts.
That's the new
And then
ones.
they basically split every single, or most of them have like the special weapon and or shotguns and stuff.
But that's pretty much what I've done for hobby progress. How about you, Austin? How about you? What do you got for hobby progress?
So I got a fire lit under my butt.
It's about time.
Yeah.
The hobby hiatus is over.
Yeah, I finally, with all the talk of 11th edition, I just started looking at my Necrons and stuff again. I was like, I really want to play. So I started building, first I built on Saturday, I built my 5 Fire Drakes for Heresy, because they needed to get built, and I promised I would build them. And then the next day, I just went all in. I built my Jump Pack Smash Captain, 12 Hull Score Pack Destroyers, 1 Locust Heavy Destroyer, and, as promised, Nightbringer is now fully assembled.
It's about time.
He is a pain in the butt to put together.
I can only, as fiddly and flimsy as that model kind of looks and all the like flowing things, you could hit that thing with a stiff breeze and probably break 4 parts.
Oh, you pick it up from the base and you feel like you're going to break it.
You got to
don't even have to
thing
touch
down
the
or
model.
something. Like, somebody coughing at the table and whoop, he just falls over.
It just shatters into a million
awesome.
pieces.
If you need more stuff to build, I can send you home with so many kits. I've got a Custodes box you could throw together for me if you feel crazy. Just saying. Anything else?
Well, purchases count. I recently purchased the Eye of Terror Knights box.
Oh.
So I could have some allies for my Space Marines.
Oh, no.
Here I was thinking we finally got a podcast without a filthy knight player on it.
I'm not a knight player.
Yeah,
I just
this is
want
how it
them for
starts.
allies.
This is the gateway box.
No.
And then it's like, well, if I just buy one more
if I
big
could-
knight,
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
have
start with just
I have
one
a whole
knight.
army. Or now I need a lancer.
Yeah, it starts with one knight. Next thing you know, you have 14 armigers. And you're like, where did this come from?
Okay, I started with 3.
They do start reproducing after a while, though. I don't know how it happens, but you buy 3, and then like 2 more show up a couple days later.
When a mommy knight and a daddy knight love each other very much.
That's kind of what happens when you play bumper tanks. Eventually, a Cyclops the remote mine gets born.
It happens.
I also picked up, it hasn't arrived yet, but I have purchased a Technomancer for my Necrons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's the one that typically everyone meta chasing will usually
Throws it with the
wraiths.
Yeah.
Because they've got like the 4-up invuln, and he gives them like a 5-up feel no pain.
We need
he's
wraith bricks harder to kill.
Yeah, so no, I decided I was going to off meta like I always do and just stick them in a squad of 20 warriors and make them the most annoying things possible to kill.
Which I like. That I can deal with. You know? Well, that's awesome, man. A couple of weeks ago, I'm going to start with this because I'm so excited, y'all. I randomly pulled up Facebook. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was just kind of like, I got a minute to kill. I'll pull up Facebook. And the Atomic Mass Games Facebook page posted the I Am No Jedi diorama was limited stock, back in stock until it sells out. And if you remember the Adepticon episode, I talked about wanting to get this set.
Yeah.
It is technically a Shatterpoint set, but it's Ahsoka facing off against Darth Vader. It's the fight scene from Rebels.
Yeah.
And it's got the diorama base and all that. And it was one of those, like, I read it, and in my excitement, like, dropped and threw my phone, like, ah! and you know, immediately sat right there at the office, you know, desk and was like buying it, and Apple paid it just so I didn't have to type anything. It's like, it's done. And I got shipping notification last night. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Here's a project for you. Paint it.
Yeah. Well, that's the issue. I'll probably have it commission painted and given to him. But
It's like that saying of, I'm assembling all this stuff for hours. Let me go check if I'm still married.
That's fine. She sits right in front of where I paint. So she literally puts her hand up and taps the wall if she needs me. And I'm like, oh, the wife is calling.
Hey, that works. That works.
It works. You know?
Rohan has requested aid.
Well, like, I'll be watching TV and she's watching TV shows. So at the door, so I don't hear her stuff and she doesn't hear my stuff. And I think I mentioned last episode I had bought the Eye of Terror Reign of Iron book, campaign book for Apocalypse. Got shipping notification for that last night. It must have been ship things day yesterday for all the places I buy stuff. So that's on its way with the fluorescent paint set from Monument Hobbies.
Oh,
and another wet palette because I've lost mine.
Yeah.
So well, I keep needing, now that I'm back to painting, I need one again. So
I need to use mine. I've had one since Christmas and just never been brave enough to pull it out.
Just open it every so often, or the whole thing. You'll open it, be like, oh, it's all green from mold. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never actually used a wet palette. I've always been dry palette.
It's nice if you're consistent with it. I did assemble a unit of Raven Guard Deliverers, which I'm extremely excited to field. I didn't realize those are some of the only cataphracti that deep strike. Ooh, indeed.
That's terrifying.
Throw a multi-melta on one of them.
Oh, Lord.
So not only are they deep striking, a couple of them have chain fists, so they're going to get in and just wreck a vehicle. Fingers crossed. And then some still have the Raven Talons for like the crazy anti. They're ready to take anything, and I'm so excited. And I get to paint them red, which the Deliverers are red.
They're red?
Red with black highlights. So it's like opposite. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. And then as similar to Austin here with the announcements of 11th edition and Melee looking quite tasty. I have dug out the Drakari, taken them off the for sale block because A, nobody messaged me, and B, you know, why not?
They're your babies.
They are. It was the first fully painted army, you know, little tier. But I've been kind of re-prepping them, made a list of all the, like, I need 1 Cabalite with this, and I need 2 Scourge with that. And I printed a bunch of bases ages ago and didn't really do anything with them. I started painting them last week. So I've painted like 50 bases. I've got 60 additional 25 millimeter bases for all the infantry on the printer right now, ready to take off and cure and all that fun stuff. And I'll probably do that today. So yeah,
They look good.
Yeah.
Like those bases are really nice.
They came out a lot better than I thought they were going
The
to. And
pictures don't do them justice.
Oh yeah, they really. And I that's the one thing that is terrible about taking pictures of models, especially like, oh, look at this with my phone. It just doesn't come out good.
I've noticed that even with, I mean, you've seen it with mine, right? I share
Well, I
pictures.
tell you every time, like, oh, it looks so much better in person.
Yeah, right? 'Cause,
The
like,
I think
lighting
I've
is
got like
funky.
the best camera of the group on my phone.
I've got $1,000 camera, and it's just I'm not going to dig it out and set up the light box and do it to take like a picture of a base.
Well, that's what I was saying. On
show to
my
Discord,
phone, I've
yeah.
got the best phone camera.
I got an iPhone 15 Pro.
I've got that Google Pixel camera.
Oh, I have a Samsung.
Nonsense.
I have that Samsung, which has a good camera, but the problem is I think my lighting's all jacked up.
Well, and yeah, in that corner where I hobby, there's just the lighting's terrible. So
It's fair.
Got a little hobbying cave
I need
in your
better
man
lights.
cave.
Yes. To
little
go next to the
Gollum
sim
corner.
racing cave
Yep.
and everything else. So, I think that's it for me. Games played. Have you guys played anything? Steven played things.
I did.
So let's talk about your RTT and feel free at this point, go as deep or as shallow as you want on the entire thing. I don't need a play by play for every game.
No, I didn't take pictures or anything like
yeah,
that, so I can't even tell you if I tried. But no, so I took place at a local game store. I took place in their monthly RTT. They do a monthly RTT. There was like I think 10 people, so it wasn't fully sold out. There was a couple slots still open.
Back in my day, they could only have 10. So
Yeah, they had up to 12, and there's only 10. So in my games, my first game was played against Space Wolves, and I have a very vehicle heavy list, and he had a list that was all about killing vehicles. So it didn't go well.
I wonder how that went.
It's kind of hard to
now, what does a Space Wolf list look like these days? Was it like all Thunderwolf Cavalry or?
No, there wasn't a lot of Thunderwolf Cavalry. I don't know the units off the top of my head. I know he has, what was his name? Lorgard? Who's the guy that's in their
Logan Grimnar.
Yeah, the guy who's the Dreadnought.
Oh no, that's Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Bjorn,
Fell-handed.
okay. Yeah, Bjorn. Yeah. So he had
Love
Bjorn. He had
Dreadnoughts.
he had their Terminators or their equivalent to that.
Yeah.
And basically, just what happened was I couldn't kill him fast enough, and he got into my ranks and effectively took Thunderhammers to Chimeras. And unfortunately, Thunderhammers
They can hurt.
They can hurt Chimeras pretty badly. And then the infantry gets spilled out and it gets mopped up pretty quickly because T3 Guardsman infantry can't really do much against T5 Terminators.
That's a tough one.
It's a
Yeah, those dev wounds on those Thunderhammers hurt.
yeah. So that was my first game. I lost that game. The second game was against Admech.
Okay. And I know this guy. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He was a good guy. And that was a bit more in my favor. One, because of my indirect, I was able to take out a lot of his battle line, and his battle line gave his other troops things. So I just removed his battle line. He only had 2 units. And otherwise, I was able to outflank him. My first time really using the Gaunt's Ghosts as well.
Yeah.
In any games. So that was like my first time using it in doing an RTT. And I won that game it was like 96-30.
Oh my.
It was my first game I lost like 90-30.
Yeah.
So
You're just balancing out the battle points.
just balancing it out.
Sounds like every game I've ever played against you.
No, you've been getting closer actually.
Not points wise, but kills wise, yeah.
No, points wise too.
I don't even remember what I landed on last time. I'm hoping the new
I got out of my deployment zone.
Yeah, that's the important part.
I lost the first game 32-81 against Space Wolves. I won the second game 95-31 versus Admech. And then I won against Tau in the retaliation cadre with the new Twin Lance.
Oh, yes, the twins. Ooh. How'd that go?
Bad.
Oh, okay.
Bad for me. He did really well, but he beat me 100-44.
Ooh,
Ouch.
perfect score.
It was. I just could not get stuff done. He used a lot of stealth, and he played really well. He made it so I couldn't necessarily target things, and if I could target things, their ability to just ignore cover and everything just makes it very, very hard. So
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to work come new edition.
well, with the new edition, instead of being like -1 to AP, like it does for cover save or improving your cover save, I think they're going to do more of a
It's minus.
-1 to hit.
Yeah.
So Tau is just going to be hitting more consistently.
Yeah, I mean that makes more sense thematically, I think. But
Well, yeah,
I feel
it's-
like so many things have like ignore cover. Like, at what point is it just not worth? I don't know. I'm curious if that whole system gets reworked.
And
Yeah,
that
I wouldn't be surprised, especially if they make it like a -1 to hit, where it'll be because you can't stack -1s to hit. So if it ends up being like you get a -1 to your ballistic skill, and then it might not affect stealth units, and so it'll probably balance out better that way.
Yeah, something I saw hinted that it might not be capped at 1 anymore.
we don't know yet with 11th.
Yeah.
This was like this
still.
is like the end of like my thing of this is end of 10th. This is kind of
Everybody's
like,
just
hey,
trying stuff out and having fun.
also I haven't played any kind of tournament-esque thing in a long time. The last time I played a tabletop tournament was years ago, and it was Star Wars X-Wing.
Oh, okay.
Which Star Wars X-Wing, fun game, easy to pick up, very lightweight as far as the rules go. And if you like if you like Star Wars and Starfighters, definitely suggest it. But I think that game kind of has died off. You can still get the rule book and everything and play perfectly fine with the online resources. If you can find something on eBay for it, but nevertheless, it was a good game. You get a bunch of people in a single store. It's gonna, they did what they could to keep the crank the AC up to make sure it wasn't too hot.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of like if you were to do the first day of a GT
or something.
like a GT. Because if you think about it, the first day of a GT is probably going to be 3 games. This is 3 games. It's a good practice.
Yeah.
Low and it's also lower as far as like your if you've never done one before, I still suggest doing it.
Oh, 100%. RTT gotta.
RTT will get your feet wet, and it's low risk. If you can find it with a local game store, do it. It's fun. Your opponents are usually like they're cool. They're cool people. I didn't have a bad experience with a single person.
That's
the
good.
SCD gets frustrated at themselves. Like the AdMech player was getting frustrated because unfortunately I was able to shoot him off the board, and he was getting frustrated that he was getting shot off.
Understandable.
This is also understandable, but you also understand, like, I'm not trying to be, no one's being mean, right?
Yeah.
You're making sure the rules are right, and no one's going to be like, the whole stereotype of having that guy.
Don't be
that guy.
Huh?
That, we all know that. You know what I mean by that guy.
100%.
Everyone knows what you mean by that guy.
All right.
Right. Sorry to go off a bit of a tangent.
Nah,
here.
it's fine. It's fine. Well, anything else before we take a quick break?
Don't believe so.
No?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
Well,
that's
we
about
will
it.
be back in just a moment with our main topic, building a list and checking it twice.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right. So let's jump into our main topic, list building.
List building.
So,
building a list.
All important thing of how to play this game.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of the first step.
Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe not, because our new guy in Discord, he's just buying. He doesn't care about lists, which is hilarious, and it's so great. It was like,
It's the
buddy,
first step to play.
Yes,
Yes.
to play, you got to do this. So, list building. Where do you start?
So Well, first you need your codex or rules for
Yes.
points. That's going to be your first step.
Kind of a big deal too.
It's kind of a big deal. Next is, do you netlist? Do you figure out a combo on your own?
Sure.
Do you?
I've got some hot takes on all of these.
Yeah,
but
everyone does.
yeah, bury the lead. I think, at least for me, it is a kind of the archetype of the list. You know, you've got your detachments. What kind of suits your play style? What models do you have?
Right.
You know, do I want to feel this really cool thing and build around that? Or do I want to try units and just kind of go from there? Or even like, all right, I know I want to take 2 Archons. Like, how do I, from there, or Lady
Right.
Malice or whatever.
Or, starting off with a preferred play style and kind of
Yes.
building from there, because that's kind of how I started with my Space Marine list. When I first started, was literally just whatever I had, just
And
kind of
a lot of
lying
times that's all
around.
you get, right? You
Yeah,
can't.
it's what
pick
you
from
got.
the things on the shelf.
And it kind of evolved with, well, I want it to be a melee list. How do I do a melee list? And I just iterated on it time and time again, adding, new units. And I think I switched over from doing a bunch of regular assaults to doing like jump pack assaults. And so,
Yeah, basically it's one, you play with what you got, especially if you're starting into the hobby. You play with what you got first. Then you go, okay, what's working out, what's not. Every army or every faction is going to play differently. Even different detachments within the same faction play differently.
Yes,
Right.
which I like.
Which, like, guard, like with me, I can play 250 infantry or
7
15 tanks.
Yeah. Depending on the size of the tank.
depending on the size. You literally have either either extreme of I can do 250 models and have fun trying to chew through everything,
Yeah.
or I can do a bunch of tanks and good luck killing everything. So it's just with list building. Back when I started, there wasn't really like a lot of online list sharing. Granted, you still had the tournaments,
Sure.
but they weren't posting. It wasn't as clear or as pronounced as it is nowadays.
Yeah, I think it was probably 5th or 6th edition before I even saw like a list posted online. I was like, oh, that's how people run that? Back on like Warseer and Daka and,
The old forums.
I miss those so
Those
much.
old forums.
And I think somebody mentioned netlisting, right?
Me.
I saw something just last night. I actually screenshotted it on Reddit, or so I could read it this morning because it was like 11:30. I was trying to fall asleep after driving all night. So this morning I put in some notes, right? And one of the guy on Reddit basically said, refine an army by yourself and apply your own thought process, which I thought was interesting. And something I've always told people is build a list, especially if you're starting out and you don't understand game concepts and all that, and you play that same list 5, maybe 10 times. You figure out what works, what doesn't work, how things die, what things excel at, and just kind of get the flow of the game.
how things, work together. And,
Right, 'cause if you're constantly
this buff
changing-
works best with this. And
Yeah, you're going to just drop something before it has a chance to do its job or something to that effect.
It's also making sure that you have the mental wherewithal or capacity to understand how certain combos work.
Right.
So, like, for example, if you were to play like a Deathwing Dark Angels list and you have this unit of like, I don't know, what were they, like incursors or whoever the people who are doing the jumpy thingies with the heavy weapons and Gravis armor.
I don't even know anymore. I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know off the
I,
top of my head.
I think it is incursors. I believe it is incursors.
And you're using these incursors, but they're either getting shot off the board or you're not doing it. They don't do anything. You need to then kind of go, hey, these units aren't working. What can I do differently?
Exactly.
And that's what I call, that's the refinement process, right?
Right.
You first build a list of like, I think this is cool. I like this gravity like shoot guy, or I like these guys that are just heavy, like the Deathwing Knights, or Assault Terminators, or Tactical Squads, because you play in 6th edition still.
Steven.
But you basically find out what works for you, what works for your games, and refine on that. Or you also learn from your opponents.
Yes. Well, that's my next point too, is play as many games as you can with good players. You know, if you're both really bad at it, I think you're going to continue to be really bad at it. It's kind of like
a variety of players.
Right. You know, if I'm trying to think of the analogy, and man, I just completely went blank. I've got an issue with the dog in my lap. Discuss that later. But like you don't get better at something by playing bad people.
Right.
You need to play people who are better than you.
Yes.
And playing a variety of different armies as well.
That's why I also encourage RTTs.
Yes.
Yeah.
People are intimidated. It's very intimidating to go to an event where you're going to be playing multiple games in a day.
Sure.
At a game store. The big thing with that is do not be intimidated by this, because one, it's a really good experience. I went to the local game store here. You can go to a local RTT, find it on Best Coast Pairings, find a local game.
Yep.
Yes, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. You're going to play people you never played against. For example, if Austin only ever played against me, he would never.
He would only know how to
He would
play
only
against Star.
improve so much.
I would only really understand, guard tank profiles and, how an army built like that would work versus when I've faced off against Jay and his space dwarves.
Oh, Votan.
Votan, thank you.
I keep forgetting he's got a Votan army.
He has Votan.
It's a very cool army, by the way. Just putting that out there. It's a very interesting playstyle.
Yeah, they're very interesting, but you don't learn anything new by playing the same person over and over again. If you can get to a store, or even nowadays with Tabletop Simulator,
There's a lot of online RTTs.
there's a lot of online RTTs, especially when COVID happened.
Yeah.
Like Tabletop Simulator really did a lot. Now, granted, is there a little jankiness to it? Of course, it's an online game. You're going to have some jankiness to it. But if you take it slow and take your time with it, learn the rules, that's probably the best thing you can do for your lists. Some people say don't change some things. Don't change anything for a couple of days or play at least 4 or 5, 10 games if you can, of course, because Warhammer games can take 3 to 6 hours, especially if you're still learning.
And just depending on, local player availability and stuff like that.
Last point of the post. Try playing a slow game where you can talk through your decisions and your decision making.
Yeah.
Which,
anyone who is an experienced Warhammer player, you need to understand when you play someone who's less experienced that they're going to talk through things. I mean, even at my RTT, when I was playing against the AdMech player, I destroyed one of his transports and he was going to deploy the troops out of it right in line of fire of another thing. I was like,
I would not do that.
I told him, hey, before you do this, I suggest putting them over here so they have cover or I can't see them anymore. And he's like, oh, and did that. You have it's an RTT. I'm not there to win anything. I'm there to have fun. I'm not going, I don't think it's going to really throw the game because, you deployed your troops out of the destroyed transport over here versus over there.
Yeah, well, that's something I would always start my games with at an event, especially the first couple of rounds. Like, look, buddy, I'm not winning this thing. I'm here to have a good time. Like, let's be best friends. Here's some dice and a sticker. Like, and go from there. And generally, I only had 1 or 2 super salty people that were like, "This is miserable."
Yeah. I was like, and I mean, that's how I started out when I started playing. Was just, hey, I'm not expecting to win any of these games. I just want to learn how to play, how my army works, how my list works, stuff like that. Very quickly learned that First Company is trash. Don't use it.
Well, so and something else I thought of and jotted down here is I know when I've prepped for things before just to see how my list works on the table, don't be afraid to set up the table and do your first turn's movement from your deployment zone and see what can go where, who can drop, who can advance, what can you touch, where can you hide. Think about the firing lines. You know, if you've got the terrain set up, get a flashlight.
And don't be afraid to pour hammer it either. Just cardboard,
or tabletop simulator. Tabletop simulator
that works too. Yeah.
Also has where you can see like an actual like line of sight type of thing built into it, where you can actually. Yes, it's online using a computer if you don't have the space for your own table.
I prefer learning how to and how fast can I move things and just things like that. Work out that stuff in your head, because if it takes you 22 minutes to move your models the first turn, you're going to have a really bad time.
Especially with a 3-hour timer, yes.
Or 2.5 in most cases. So just something to maybe think about when you're doing that. Because I know with my Drakari, when I was practicing for my second Cherokee, it was I would come out here in the evenings like, all right, tonight I'm going to set up this deployment zone. And I'm just going to practice moving who can hide, who can get behind a building, who can take an objective and not get shot, assuming, everything on that side can go 9 inches, what can be seen and stuff like that.
And I think when it comes to, creating a list, don't feel trapped by the meta.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because you'll see, it's like, if you're playing Necrons, it's, the must take is Technomancer with a Wraith Brick, or you have to take Imhotech for the extra CP or any. Don't feel trapped by that.
Sure.
And you can build a meta list if you want to. You just kind of have to figure out how it works first, but also don't be afraid to be fluffy. Don't be afraid to, I really like this unit. I want to build 18 Scorpec destroyers and figure out how to make that work in a list.
Yeah, and that kind of comes up to the other point is net listing. Right. So, or commonly getting, because with everything now, with Best Coast pairings and all the tournament scenes that you're seeing, because I've been noticing that Warhammer 40K tournaments are a lot more popular. But those tournaments, those lists are public.
Yes.
You can see
if you pay.
If you pay, right? Because you have to see those. You can take a look at people's lists and see what they're running, or even just watch a stream. Watch War Games live, or watch the Warhammer channel when they're actually doing a tournament on the weekend.
Which they were this morning from Germany, so I got to wake up and see the finals this morning. It's fantastic.
It's great, but that's the thing is watch how people actually play an army. Yeah. Those are real live people.
I mean, and that's genuinely how I kind of first learned before even my first game, was just how the game flowed, was watching. I know Kurt's going to want to crucify me for this, but 40K in 40 minutes.
Look, I don't mind. They do good work. It's not my thing.
They do good work. They're also, but that's a 40-minute thing for a full game versus a full 3-hour.
They skip a lot.
They skip a lot of
but
I'm moving 15 infantry into this ruin.
Yeah, but it does end up where I was able to sort of go, oh, so that's how the game flows. That's how it works.
Yeah. So on the topic of net listing, I actually had a point on that myself, is you can copy that list all day long, but if you don't understand all of the ins and outs, you're just playing an army that you don't know how to run. So if you don't know how it's good and what makes it good and all the nuances, it's useless to you. And I see a lot of that. It's like, oh, I'm running this new list, and you still shellac the guy like 97-14. It's like, well, yeah, that's a good list, buddy, but you're not a good pilot.
Just because you got a good list, a meta list does not mean it's going to win every game. And a meta list just means it fits in with the quote unquote meta.
Sure.
And I still don't believe there's really much of a meta. Sure. Because
Well, it's the people that have full-time jobs doing this that can focus on that.
Yes.
But it goes back to play what you know. Look at Skari with Drakari. I didn't realize that rhymed until
that
exactly
was a
right
pretty
now.
good rhyme there.
Thank you. Even during our dark times, in quotation marks, he was still top 3ing everything he went to because he knew that army inside and out. He knew how to beat the meta. He knew how to, do all the things and the perfect movement and all the stuff. So if you know what you're doing and you're familiar with it, and it helps nobody else really plays the army and nobody knows how to do it with you, it can make a huge difference.
In the wise words of Tom Cruise, it's not the plane, it's the pilot.
Yes, 100%. Something else when you're building your list too is every unit needs a job to do.
Yeah,
That's the part of the refining process. When you build a list, you can't. There's no such thing as a Swiss Army knife in 40K. I mean, there is. It's just not good.
Yes.
called Space Marine Intercessors.
Specifically, back when I was building some of my Drakari lists, I was like, okay, these jet bikes are here. What is your job? Like Rick and Morty with the butter dispenser. It's like, no. You advance forward and take that objective, and you get a single anti-tank shot, and you're going to die. But the 3 or 4 points that you score me, looking at the points per
points.
Well, yeah, how many points you earn off them versus how many points they cost you. If I could get 3 points for a 60-point model, or 3 score points off the 60-point model, then it was worth it.
Yeah, and I have an example of that. When I was doing the RTT, my first time using Gaunt's Ghost, which is a character unit, they're a 100-point unit for 6 models.
Yeah.
They have what is commonly referred to as uppy downy, which you can take them up out of your, if they're not in engagement range, you can pull them from the board, and then at the end of your opponent's turn, and then redeploy them during your reinforcement step.
Yes.
I had to do something where I had to have a unit wholly in each table quarter. I dropped them behind everything in my opponent's table quarter, and I was already on 3, so I went from 3 to 4 to increase the points. I'm using a 100-point unit to effectively earn me more points in the game, and then I took them up at the end of my opponent's turn and redeployed them onto an objective because they need to do something else.
Yep.
That was their job. Their job was to be what's called an action monkey. Because in 10th, you had to do actions to earn points for your secondaries, or even sometimes for a primary.
Yeah,
Not sure how it's going to work with 11th.
Oh, I can't wait for the leaks. Oh,
I can't wait
Give
for
me all of the things. I'm already ready to craft, man. Gears are turning.
I'm so excited to see how they implement, to keep the topic on list building, how they're going to implement the whole character combos.
Oh, yes.
Nerfing that they're going to do, where it's like, oh, if you connect, because you're supposed, I think it's in 11th, they're going to have it where in the list building stage, you specifically have to attach the character to the unit beforehand.
Which
so it's going to possibly affect the points that way.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you're taking, from my knowledge with Necrons, the Plasmancer with the Immortals with the Tesla coils, they might say, oh, if you're attaching that unit to this unit, that's going to overall increase the points of that unit. So instead of just being the 55-point Plasmancer and the 70-point Immortals, now it's going to basically add an extra 10 or 15 or whatever points on top of that combo.
But getting back to that original topic of having units for specific actions,
yes,
there's also a bit of redundancy. If you have only 1 point of failure in your list, 40K is a very lethal game. You can lose units very rapidly. As both of you know
What? No, I totally don't know what you mean. Not being able to leave my deployment
800
zone
points
for
at the top of the first turn. I don't know what you're talking about.
3 turns.
But there's been a time where I got someone spikes on a indirect artillery shot and takes out a whole unit that was designed to do a certain function.
Yeah.
You need to have some redundancy, but also you need to understand that units have a primary purpose and then a secondary purpose. For example, my troopers in a Chimera, the Chimera is going to hold that midboard and the troopers are going to do the action. Because the Chimera has much more damage output than the squad of guys with flashlights.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, same thing for why I, as a Necron player, love taking Scarabs. They're not just fantastic harassment units to block up, choke points and stuff, because they've got decently wide bases. I can also, whenever they're on a point, I can just throw them onto a point that you hold and go, guess what? You now have no OC on this. You're not doing actions anymore. It's a great denying unit, and it's probably not going to do any damage.
I did not know it worked like that. Huh.
But yeah, it can, it's not going to be a huge damaging unit. They're only 40 points for 3 models.
But they have their job.
But they have a job. They're harassing. They're keeping my opponent on their toes while the rest of my army does what they're supposed to do, which is kill stuff.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually where net listing can get you into, is because you build a list, and if you're just inexperienced with that list building or how the list actually comes together, you put that list together and now you're like, okay, I'm not really sure how this is working, or I'm not scoring points as much as my opponent's scoring points. I'm able to shoot them off the board or remove their units. But I'm not winning because the game isn't all about killing. There's objectives as well.
Which, and I've played with some people that are more familiar with like 6th, 7th edition, and they're still stuck in that killy mindset to where you calculate kill points and all that. Like, no, buddy, we don't do that, yeah.
Unless you're playing Purge.
Well, but still, you have to do your secondaries and all your things.
Yeah.
And,
you mean the best game mode?
It's the best game mode. Purge. Yeah. So it also depends on the mission. So, for example, when I was, running a tank heavy list, I've built my list. It was inspired by a YouTube creator, Morty and Glory. He was a very big Guard or Imperial Guard player, and he has a whole podcast on everything. And I was basing my initial lists on the list he made. And I was also, after me coming back from a very long hiatus, moving and everything, and trying to find local game stores, and then also just trying to find the time to actually take and play. I just haven't played in a long time. I'm getting back into it with 10th. I played on 6th and maybe 7th. So there's like a good 3 editions where I didn't play. That's a good probably 9 years.
Wow.
And trying to come back and relearn how to assemble a list. Now, granted, I had a good collection of minis at the time.
You have a lot of guard, a lot of variety.
Yeah, a lot of tanks, a lot of chimeras. Not just any tanks, but specifically chimeras and Leman Russes, and then using those to build a list, but get inspiration from someone else who's been in the game for much more consistently than I was.
Right.
So that's kind of like the net listing is okay, but you also need to know how it works. Just because you know how to get into a car doesn't mean you know how to drive it.
Well, like racing, anybody could sit in it, but you get going and you crash on your first corner.
Right.
You would know about that, huh?
No experience.
I will say, especially with when we're talking about list building and like meta list versus net listing and all that. Also, just know kind of what group you're playing with. Is it going to be a very competitive group where you're all going to be building lists to like we're gonna really just meta on meta, hardcore crunching numbers, or are you going to be playing a more casual group? It's like we're just here to have fun.
I don't mind a hard game here and there, but
Right.
I'm a beer and pretzels kind of guy, especially out here.
Yeah.
Kind of great.
That was like the old separation of narrative versus competitive Warhammer that apparently we're just going to be really moving away from.
I'm curious to see how it goes.
More, they're pushing
Blend it.
them together
Blend it,
to be
yeah.
more of a cohesive experience, it seems like.
Fingers crossed. I've joked in the past, especially with Mark. We almost need a competitive rule set and a narrative rule set. But if they can somehow combine the two, that would be fantastic.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't it? Oh well. Anything else on list building? We didn't really touch on fluffy kind of things. I personally haven't done a lot with like Crusade or any of that. Seems fun, but it seems like after 3 or 4 games, it gets real one-sided. So we just never touched it or did anything with it.
That's the problem with a campaign like that. I've seen it a long time ago with a Crusade. If you give one side the ability to get stronger while the other side doesn't get stronger if they lose, it does.
Well, especially if they start taking battle damage and all that. And they're not getting the perks. It gets bad.
It's kind of like even in Necromunda. Necromunda, if you're playing a campaign and you are having a lot of attrition, whereas other people aren't, you're going to be very disadvantaged. Crusade is great on paper, but I think you don't want to be on the losing side of the Crusade. You don't want to be like, okay, I'm going in and I have 1,500 points, while my opponent has 2,500. That's why the point system exists. It's for balance. Games Workshop does a lot to keep that balance. Or a lot of updates. We always see the point updates and
Which is amazing coming from, we would get our yearly 3-line FAQ.
Yeah.
No point changes.
Now it's every 3 months. At least we get some sort of, hey, we're looking into how tournaments are working. And I mean, even with Space Marines, when they go, hey, we're going to take this one unit. That was a very common unit, the lieutenant with combi weapon. Very good utility unit that the Space Marine players were using, but they increased it by 15 points. And that can throw off your list, and now you have to rewrite your list. So
Right, yeah. If we put you at 2005, then something's got to go.
yes, because you can't be over the point limit. You have to be at or under it.
Yeah.
I totally don't know about that paying for the sins of Catan. Trying to fit Nightbringer in, it's like, oh, now he's up 10 points. Now he's up another 15 points.
Yeah. Opened up New Recruit the other day for the first time in, 6 months or something, and pulled up the last Drakari list I worked on. I was like, oh, it's 2025 now. Like what gets the axe,
Speaking of that, speaking of New Recruit, your resources, right? So with Warhammer 40K, you have the app, right? And that usually gets updates pretty quickly, but you do have to pay either the subscription.
You got to pay the sub and buy your codex.
Yes, you got to pay for the sub and buy your codex, or you can be free and just buy your codex. But there's other third-party tools out there to help with building lists or even multiple lists.
Yeah, New Recruit is absolutely my favorite
Recruit-
for that.
Yeah,
because
New
you can
Recruit-
build multiple lists for multiple armies, and they've got multiple game systems. I use New Recruit for not sponsored. I use
Hashtag not sponsored.
hashtag not sponsored. But I use New Recruit for my Heresy lists, for my 40K lists. I've built prospective AOS lists on there.
Anything else on list building, or in some case, building a list and checking it twice?
I mean, yeah, checking it twice. That's the other thing is just, you run a game with it and then go, okay, what works, what doesn't.
Yeah, it's experience is the best teacher, and unfortunately, experience also teaches the lesson or gives you the test before teaching the lesson. That's why these are games. Have fun.
Yeah. Last point. I remember before me and Shane went to Adepticon, he was trying to learn knights, and they were suddenly the big bad, like overnight, like suddenly everybody had to deal with knights. And to practice, we were using solo cups because it's the same base size as the armatures. And so he had one big knight despoiler built and 15 solo cups on the table, and literally a sticky note that was like, Melta in this, or it's a carnivore. And so we kind of knew, but that's how, and to figure out base size and movement and all that, like that's how we kind of
Warhammer Pong.
against that.
Kurt's, I was to say, Kurt's playing beer pong with night
That was before
proxies.
3D printers and all that kind of stuff. But it was just like, okay, how do we maneuver these? Because he wanted to learn. And of course, my first game I pulled was against a night player. And had I not done like 10 games like that with Shane, I never would have known how to deal with him. And I lost that game by like 3 points. Came down to like, if this Dark Lance connects, and he made his involt save. I was like, no!
That last dice roll is like, this one dice roll will decide the game.
The dice definitely tell a story, and that's the cool part about the game. It's ultimately, it's not always about winning or having a landslide victory. There's gonna be games where you're gonna lose a lot.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be games where you're going to win by a lot. There's going to be close, nail-biting games where it comes down to a dice roll.
That was
Sometimes it doesn't matter what kind of list you bring. The dice will always decide your fate.
my favorite example, though, is at the ATC that first year I went, and I've told the story 1,000 times, so apologies if you've heard it. I had to take Trajan off of an objective, and the only thing that could get to him was a Drakari Raider. Trajan had 2 wounds left. I charged him, 3 attacks, only hits on 5s or 6s, 3 6s, could only wound him on a 6, 3 6. All he had to do was not roll 2 1s, and he rolled 2 1s. And not only did I kill him, I took the objective. It's a 10-point flip, and I won the game. And it was just like, what? And it got to where like everybody saw what was happening. It was like, oh man, and there's like 10 people around cheering it on. Like it was crazy. And that's why one of my Raiders has Trajan's weapon on it, because they earned it.
I would say so, yeah.
Nothing like a good old battlefield trophy.
Yeah. So
Surprised he didn't get tank shocked.
well, that was 8th.
Oh, okay.
8th or 9th. I don't even know. Before we wrap this up, is there anything else you guys want to chat about or mention or bring up? News, hobby stuff?
I don't know. Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't really have much that I can talk about. I didn't really do anything as far as pre-orders go for the guard stuff.
Yeah, you missed the boat on that.
I missed the boat on it. It's mostly
I believe they are still out though, because I think it was only like yesterday that they started releasing those guard boxes. So
yeah,
you still
I'm
have a
also
chance.
Not really. I mean,
you have a chance to make more poor financial decisions.
I do have a chance to make more poor financial decisions, but I'm looking at the stats and the point costs for the new models.
Well, and that's all going to change in a month.
It's all going to. It's all as the initial point costs. I have my reserves about it. The new Centaur is the same price as a Chimera, which is like a big oof. It should be about 10 or 20 points less because of basically just what it just lacks. The only thing it has is a firing deck. The Hippogriff AFV, the armored fighting car or armored fighting vehicle.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It's just its weapons are just not that good. I'm also just wondering how the new detachments are going to work with 11th. That's pretty much. I'm kind of reserved. I'm waiting for how everything pans out in 11th.
Yeah, I'm not building anything, but
Yeah, that's
Frontline Gaming. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say they still have it, but it's sold out after you click on it.
and it's gone.
And it's gone.
It was only $216 from them.
11th is going to be interesting because I know I've been like looking at like, I wonder what detachment's going to stick around or how that's going to work. Because I know they said they're going to have it be where you're essentially paying points for detachments.
Yeah,
Something like that, where it's like this detachment costs 3 points and this one costs 1 point. And I don't know how they're going to do that, how that's all going to...
So we're going to
do
get
multiple detachments.
Codexes are so valid, but we're going to have like a 25-page FAQ per army. So
Oh, I guarantee you. Yeah.
everything's going to change, especially characters and how they join, and all that's going to be updated. So get ready to fire off those printers. All right. Well, I think with all that being said, it's time to wrap this thing up. So this has been episode 29 of Webway Radio. I'm Kurt.
I'm Steve.
I'm Austin.
And we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
See ya.